Sonic Spinball, the official soundtrack on a single LP, published by Data Disc and their 25th release in their catalog. Alright, what's going on, Forgotten Nation? I'm your host, Def G, and welcome back to another vinyl hands-on session. Today we're looking at Sonic Spinball. Now, previously on the channel we have covered some other Sonic vinyls, both of which were from Data Disc, including Sonic CD and Sonic Mania. If you want to see those hands-on sessions, be sure to check out the icons up above. And it's a bit surprising to see that not only are we back on the Sega Genesis, but it's a spin-off title of the Sonic series, especially following the wake of the recently released Sonic Origins collection. I'm actually still surprised we haven't seen any of the mainline games, not counting Sonic CD, get the vinyl treatment. So the question is this one worth having that very treatment here today? Well, let's go hands-on with Sonic Spinball. Let's start by talking a little bit about the game. Sonic Spinball, released in 1993 by Sega and one of the first spin-offs of the Sonic the Hedgehog series. Taking a spin on pinball, Spinball. The game features bumpers and bandits across 4 unique stages in Dr. Robotnik's latest creation of destruction, the Vega Fortress. Naturally used to rolling up and bouncing, Sonic sets off to take on the fortress and stop Dr. Robotnik's no-good plan. This game wasn't developed by Sonic Team, the creators of the core series. Rather, it was actually done by the Sega Technical Institute, an American branch of Sega that assisted in the creation of Sonic 2 and yet-to-be-released Sonic 3, but wouldn't be known until their later Sega Genesis game, Comix Zone. But they were also known for another game, Kid Chameleon. Their involvement would give the game a very Western feel, graphics and music included. When the game first released, as well as that retrospective look upon it, the one biggest gripe about the game was the control scheme. Yes, it was a pinball game, but it didn't play like a traditional pinball game. It had a mix of platforming elements, and you were essentially trying to control Sonic through the levels. What this often made, though, was some frustrations with certain level designs. More specifically, the later stages in the game, where sometimes that mix between the Sonic gameplay and the pinball gameplay can sometimes feel very unfair. I'm especially looking at the final stage of the game, the Showdown. Jeez, it's unfair when it comes to the death traps down below. But that's besides the point. Sonic Spinball is finally remembered because of being that different Sonic game. But it's still not really among some of the top when it comes to the definitive Sonic experiences. I like the gameplay for what it is, but it's clear that not everyone really does enjoy this game. You'd be better off to play a regular pinball game, honestly. But it's not to say that it doesn't have its quirky 90s charm to it. So that's about the game, let's talk about the soundtrack. The music of Sonic Spinball is unlike anything else in the series, weighing in on the heavier electronic sound that the Genesis is known for. If you played Comix Zone, you'll know what I mean. It could best be described as electric with heavy synth and rock, a very 90s feel if you ask me. The most iconic theme from the soundtrack has to be Toxic Caves, which has been remixed in later games, most notably Sonic Generations. This soundtrack was made by various artists, including Howard Drozen, Brian Coburn, and Barry Blum. The specific track credits, however, are not given. With a total of 14 tracks, 3 which I consider more so sound effects, and 1 track being a regional variant of Lava Powerhouse, here's a soundtrack that'll put your standard pinball table to shame, because we got blast processing on this one. When people emphasize the heavy twang of the Sega Genesis, I feel like this game and Comix Zone are 2 prime examples of just how heavy of the bass line, especially, that the Genesis is able to handle. Especially that more electric sound, such as in tracks such as the Options theme. You especially hear that, and it's definitely powerful. But when you compare it to other Sonic soundtracks, a bit unfair I know, but still, it is a Sonic game in the end. It's something completely different. I think the reason for that is definitely because of its influence being made here in the West. Rather, the Sega Technical Institute. It's not the same as the mainline series. It doesn't have to be. But the one thing that this soundtrack lacks is some iconic medleys, especially in the later parts of the game. No doubt Toxic Caves and the Lava Powerhouse are some of the best parts of Sonic Spinball. But for casual goers or fans, Do you really remember some of the later tracks in the game? I can't say I really did personally until listening to it again here on vinyl. So it's a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to the soundtrack. I personally enjoy it and I think it works well, but it's not going to be for everyone. I think it does suit the game well, being this pinball aesthetic, but there could have been a little more creative liberties with it. That's all I'll add to that. So that's about the soundtrack. So now let's transition to the vinyl and let's start with the presentation. Keeping up with other data disc releases, the outer sleeve features high-resolution artwork of the game's box art with a removable label slip. The outer sleeve of Sonic Spinball's vinyl is the box art that was used for the American release of Sonic Spinball. Now, the Sega Genesis line of Sonic games are very different when it comes to regional box art. You have the cutesy look of Japan, or you have the more Western look here in America. When it came to Sonic Spinball though, it was universal across the board, with the one exception being Japan. Now, I love the Western art for Sonic. Now, I do think that there is still a bit more charm when it comes to the Japanese looks, but that's for the mainline series. This being a spin-off, I think the Western look definitely suits it well. In the case of Sonic Spinball though, not only do we have Sonic and Dr. Robotnik on display here, but I love the pinball elements to it. We have the Vega Fortress and the metal rail that goes with Sonic, and his feet even mimic a pinball metallic ball. You got the flippers, of course. I think what we have here makes for a really cool art piece. There is that argument though of, could it have been a little more original compared to, say, other vinyl records that are released? Data Disc is known to use high quality artwork of the box art, and I think it works well. But I would argue too that sometimes I do wish there was something a little more unique. But overall, I think it's pretty cool. On the reverse side, we got the track listing and what appears to be the rough etchings of the box art. Pretty cool. Now this might come as a bit of a surprise, but I actually like the backside a lot more than the front side. I think part of that owes to the idea of this being the original artwork, the concept art per se, of what would later be the final product. I like seeing the rough sketches and the outlines of Sonic and Dr. Robotnik in the background. It's very different, well, it's got some variation of what the final product does look like, especially with Dr. Robotnik. And overall, I think it adds to it as well, having the red color scheme along with the blue on the ribbon. I think this is really cool. So I love it just a little more than the front side. Part of me thinks that sometimes they should do more unique stuff like this, but it's whatever. Overall, I really do love the outer sleeve here, especially the backside. Also standard with Data Disc releases, the inside also features an art card with the artwork based on the outer sleeve. When it comes to Data Disc releases, by far my favorite part about them is incorporating the art card. The art card not only features the outer sleeve's artwork on a higher quality press print, but it also often includes a little bonus, some notes from the composers. In the case of Sonic Spinball though, we have no composition notes. What the hell happened? Honestly, this is the one thing I always look forward to with the Data Disc release. The fact that it's been on everyone since this one, but wasn't featured here, is a pretty big disappointment. I don't know, could they not get a hold of 3 composers? Could they not get anyone else at Sega to write some notes? Some other releases, such as one of my favorites being Mega Man Legends from Ship to Shore, actually features Jeremy Parish doing the notes. He's not a composer for Mega Man, but he does reflect what was happening at the time and what makes the soundtrack so great. They could have done something like that, but instead we have nothing. And I'm very disappointed with this release that they couldn't have any notes or anything of that matter. The variant we got on hand today is the collector's edition pinwheel design, etched with blue and white, which is pretty cool if you ask me. The version I have on hand is the limited edition pinwheel design. While I'm not sure if that's the official name, it is nonetheless a sort of pinwheel design. The only other record I have in my collection that has a pinwheel design is actually Mother from Ship to Shore, which has a red and white snail co variant, as they call it. In the case of Sonic Spinball, I actually think this works incredibly well for the release. There are some pinball cabinets that do make use of certain like spinning parts or bumpers where it does have like that vortex or spin wheel design to it. So I think that kind of owes it a bit here to Sonic Spinball, that it was definitely a really cool creative choice. And to my knowledge, I think this is the only Sonic vinyl soundtrack to date that has a variant that isn't simply a splatter design. Sonic CD and Sonic Mania, those are splatter designs for their limited editions. Sonic Colors Ultimate to the behind me, that's a splatter design too. So I think this is the only Sonic soundtrack so far where the limited edition is a pinwheel. Pretty cool. But we also have a standard Sonic Blue version, kind of similar to Sonic Mania, as well as the standard Black. Those versions are still available, so I'll have links in the description down below if you want to check them out for yourself. So that's the vinyl soundtrack, the presentation. So now the important question, how does it sound? Overall, I'm very impressed with this release, as well as some of the others from Data Disc in the past. In the case of Sonic Spinball, very minimal pops and crackles. There were a couple when I first got it, but it was nothing that the standard brush couldn't fix. What really impresses me though with this release is that it's able to handle the bass of Sonic Spinball's soundtrack. That's something that isn't necessarily easy when it comes to vinyl, especially because sometimes the bass can tend to become mitigated when it comes to mastering it. So the fact that it's just as heavy as it was on the Genesis is super impressive. And I'm so glad that it's amplified here with this vinyl release. So I'm glad to see it here. So how's it sound? Here's a couple of samples from Sonic Spinball. Much like the game, Sonic Spinball can be very divisive. It's something where it's not going to be for everyone, and it might divide even those between fans of the Sonic series and those that just love a basic pinball machine. I think the soundtrack does stand out on its own, but I don't think it's the best that the Sonic series has to offer. That said, I do believe that the two behind me are definitely worth checking out first before you dip into Sonic Spinball. but I still heavily recommend Sonic Spinball just because of how different it is, and definitely how it's able to show off just what the Sega Genesis was capable of. It certainly has that Western feel to it, and definitely makes use of that Genesis twang that everyone loves, even to this day. So I still recommend Sonic Spinball, but do be sure to check out some of the other soundtracks just before we decide going to this one. So that's going to do it for this hands-on session of Sonic Spinball. My favorite track of this session has to be the bonus round. It fits it so well. It's upbeat, it's energetic, and it definitely sounds very gimmicky in the best way possible. And man, you gotta love some of those bonus stages too. The one where you have to smash Eggman's teeth out. Ugh. There's a lot of creepy moments in Sonic Spinball, and that's just one of them. That's gonna do it for this video though. If you want to see more like it, the best place to let me know is in the comments down below. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. And don't think we can leave this off without the one trick I'm sure everyone remembers, and that's the options theme. Let's hear it. Wait, no, the bass is too much! No!